Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Why did you buy XRP without researching it? It doesn't sound very responsible of you. And yes, I'm talking to you listening to this. Why did you do that? Why did you buy XRP without any damn research? Or maybe you're one of the people that listening that did research, maybe very diligent research, and then purchased XRP. Either way, I'd be very curious to know why you did what you did, and please leave a comment below because I'd love to hear from you. But the reason that I'm even talking about this is because there is a discussion going on. It's actually still going on at the time that I'm recording this, so there may be some future updates on this. But there are a few attorneys within the XRP community sharing thoughts and a little bit of debate, friendly debate back and forth in terms of why is it that people did what they did when it came to buying XRP. And one of the attorneys you could just tell as you're reading some of what he wrote, he must be rolling his eyes in disgust at some of you out there in the XRP community having purchased XRP without having done sufficient research. I don't want to put the words in his mouth. I'm a little funnier, but I'll tell you what I did too, by the way, a little bit more in depth than I ever have. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so some of what I'm about to say I have mentioned before, but some I haven't. I jumped into crypto on a whim. It was November 10th, 2017. I saw a very negative, scary-sounding article. I believe it was about some sort of Ethereum hack. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. And then that was in the afternoon. And later that night, I was like, oh, hey, look, I can go get a Coinbase account. So I just did it. And I purchased ETH. That was the first coin I purchased. Then I purchased Litecoin. And then I purchased Bitcoin in that order for no particular reason. And the reason I only bought those three is because that's all that was available on Coinbase at the time. For those of you that are newer to crypto, you might be like, why'd you pick those three? That's all there was. Hard times. Hard times back then, right? So I had done zero research. I had literally done zero research, unless you're going to count a few articles that I read just on the concept of crypto research. Outside of that, I was like, I want to learn more. This is interesting. The concept's neat. I had heard of this Bitcoin thing years in the past, didn't do anything. I remember watching, I can't remember exactly when, but there was maybe the first thing where I got any sort of in-depth look would have been, maybe it was a couple years prior. I watched a documentary, which I believe was on Netflix. I remember Charlie Shrem was in it. I don't remember exactly what the timeline was, but it was probably a couple years even prior to that, and I didn't move on anything at all. But then I saw this article in 2017. I've never mentioned that before. Not that it's particularly relevant, but I've never mentioned that before. So then I see this article, I'm like, huh. And so part of my researching process was to have real world experience. I wanted that to be a part of what I was doing. So I put a very small amount of money into crypto, amount that I was absolutely comfortable losing 100% of if things went south because I didn't know what I was doing. And I did not know what I was doing at that point in time. Brand new, right? We were all new at once. And I started researching it. I can't tell you, like, I hadn't had anything like that in a long time that just grabbed me. You ever feel that in life when you're just, you don't know why, but you're just doing something, you experience something and it just grabs you. And then you're like, I could not be possibly more interested in this. Well, that's what crypto was for me. That's what it did. And in particular, XRP, that really got my interest going. And that's why I had my aha moment for crypto. Probably, it may have been inside of the first week, actually. Because I recognize that there are business models out there that would benefit people, reduce cost, reduce friction, that would not be possible if decentralized cryptocurrencies didn't exist. And so that blew my simple little mind back then. And so I ended up buying my first altcoin that wasn't on Coinbase a week later, and that was XRP. I got it through GateHub. I can't remember the whole rigmarole I went through. It was nonsensical, but it's the best that I could do at the time, being brand new. And so I somehow got... that's right. I bought a different cryptocurrency, and then I used Shapeshift, and then it got converted effectively into XRP, which was deposited in my GateHub account. Tough times back then. I was new though, right? So, but it did work. It worked, and so I was excited. I had my XRP, and then I just intensely researched. And so part of the debate you'll see as we go through this, it's the question of, did people buy because of Ripple? Is that what most people in the XRP community were doing? Or was it just a part of the reason? Or did they not know about Ripple at all and they just bought XRP anyway? So I'll tell you, for me, I did know that Ripple existed, But if XRP were some sort of centralized cryptocurrency, I don't believe for a moment I would have had any interest in moving forward in that. Because part of what I understood in the earliest of days was still it's a decentralized cryptocurrency. And even if you're talking about other use cases outside of what Ripple's doing in positioning XRP to be used as a bridge currency, well, XRP would be better at taking the role of fiat currency. So even if you believe that Bitcoin would be great at replacing a fiat currency, technologically, I was still kind of scratching my head even early on going, but it takes a long time. And I knew that because I was having that experience myself. Not only did I read it and research and find out about the technical shortcomings, I experienced it and high fees and this and that. But then XRP just worked. It just worked from the beginning. I thought, well, might there be something to this? Well, obviously, yes. Now it's 5.5 years later. The clear answer is yes. That's for damn sure. More and more adoption. And so part of the way that I've looked at this, even from the earliest of days, is yes, I'm counting on an entire ecosystem, to drive the long-term viability of XRP and the XRP ledger. Ripple was a part of that. So is Ripple a reason for me that I want to hold XRP? Yes, it's a reason. But what, am I supposed to have no reasons? So like if there's any developer building on top of a blockchain, does that mean that I'm wrong for that being a reason? Does that make it a security in and of itself if there's a developer building and they happen to buy and sell XRP? Am I not allowed to think that that's a good thing for the ecosystem? See, it's nonsense. So just because Ripple was a part of the reason, it wasn't the only reason. I was thinking about just a broader, healthier XRP ecosystem. But I'm certainly not ashamed to admit that Ripple was a particularly big part of that. So what? Why is that bad? That's not bad. The SEC's garbage. like I'm not supposed to be able to rely on a thriving ecosystem for a decentralized cryptocurrency to make a decision? Like, are you kidding me? Come on. And then the high utility and technological capability. So even if you're like me and Ripple was a factor, a major factor, a small factor, whatever it is, that's not bad or wrong. The SEC is full of garbage. Even if they want to say Ripple did something wrong, don't you dare say that my XRP, XRP is the embodiment of Ripple's efforts. That's a bunch of garbage. There's a thriving community of developers, and I just wholly reject that garbage. That is crap. So the way Twitter works, conversations splinter off into so many different ways. There's some stuff before what I'm going to show you, but what I'm going to show you right here is where the main part of this topic kicked in. And so there's an XRP holder from our community named Balaz Fair. I'm sorry, I probably butchered your name. He was responding to attorney Bill Morgan, and when they were talking about some other stuff, there was, again, like I said, splintered off in many directions. We're just going to go down this path here. But this guy said, I did not buy XRP in 2018 because I knew anything about Ripple's presentation. I bought it because it had the third largest market cap. And fair enough. Because when it comes to purchasing, and some people might say something like that's irresponsible, and I actually reject that. As long as you're at least informing yourself of the general crypto space, if your goal is to have broad exposure, how is that a bad idea? Because you can't research literally every coin, you can't know everything, and if you just want exposure to an asset class, and again, I'm not telling you guys to buy or not buy anything, I'm not offering financial advice, I'm just sharing my unprofessional opinion. The way I look at something like that is, yeah, good for you. It's something new. We don't know, nobody knows for sure which cryptos are going to be here, having long-term viability. If you go out another decade or two, cool. So you're getting exposure. What's wrong with that? I'm not going to look down on somebody for that. I think that it's amazing that you're, way ahead of the vast majority of humans on the planet jumping into crypto. That's the way I look at it. But anyway, that was retweeted by attorney Bill Morgan, and he said, Ripple's so-called representations about XRP for 99.9% of XRP holders is like someone pissing in the wind with nobody around. But let's apply a hypothetical reasonable investor test in the face of any actual evidence, and the SEC and the court can pretend otherwise. And somebody from the community named Vincent Van Code, I think that's a good name, wrote, funny enough, I bought a few thousand XRP as part of a few projects to use XRP Ledger. I later found out about Ripple. Any worthy coder who had used XRP Ledger will tell you just how robust and fadey it is. Buy the technology, sell the failures. Yeah, so a couple of things here. As far as that word fadey, I've never heard that in my entire life, but I did go to Merriam's website, Merriam-Webster's, and they had it on there, but it meant tendency to fade, which makes no sense in this context. So I think that's a typo, but I don't know for sure. So, but anyway, I learned a new word, tendency to fade, fadey. Okay, well, learned something new. But you'll see, like, as we go through, so just because I and many of you listening knew about Ripple when purchasing XRP, or just because that might have been a factor in the decision-making process, it turns out that we're actually in the minority, by the way. More on that in just a second here, but if you bought XRP because of Ripple, if that's any part of the reason, you're in the minority. And that might surprise some, but them's the facts. And Attorney Deaton, he says he can back it up. But anyway, so that tweet from Vincent Van Code was retweeted by Attorney Bill Morgan, and he said, does the SEC have evidence from even a single actual holder of XRP that he or she bought XRP expecting a profit from Ripple's efforts? And this is where Attorney Jesse Hines jumped in, and he seems to be a bit more skeptical. And fair enough, everybody is entitled to their own opinions. That's perfectly fine. But he wrote, LOL, I really don't get this argument. Because again, Attorney Morgan's here saying, where's the proof that anybody purchased XRP because of Ripple's efforts? And then Jesse Hines says, LOL, I really don't get this argument. I bought XRP years and years ago before there was really much of a utility, and I had expectations that Ripple was building that utility, and through that I expected XRP to go up in price. We're fooling ourselves if we think many people didn't feel the same way. Yeah, and so both points are fair. So the SEC did not do a good job or a job at all in getting to the root of why XRP holders purchased XRP in the first place. So Attorney Morgan has a perfectly valid point there. Attorney Hines is correct to note that many people did count, at least in some degree, for Ripple to result in a higher price in XRP. And look, I'm just saying, if we can't have some sort of understanding in the United States where it's good for there to be a diverse, decentralized ecosystem which drives price over time, then we're just screwed in the United States. If I can't do that, and if it's illegal for people to buy based on those types of reasons, we're screwed. We can't have, then that's the point. You know, we all jumped into this space, and the rules of the road aren't clear, and if now they're asserting something like this, and so like, if a developer does a thing and that's even part of a reason that you buy any cryptocurrency, now there's some sort of infraction? Are you kidding me? So I'm just going to come out, I mean, I haven't made any bones about this in the past. Ripple is a factor for me. It's just true. It just is. I'm not going to lie about that. But it's not the only reason. And I also understood that if Ripple went away, that XRP would continue to exist. And hey, that would be scary bad news because they're so important to the XRP ecosystem. Fine. So maybe price would have crashed. But XRP is genuinely useful, and there are other developers out there. So my belief is that even if that happens in the future, even if XRP price goes down as a result of Ripple ceasing to exist, I think eventually XRP just bounces back because the fear goes away and development continues. That's the way I look at it. There is no one developer for me that I look at and say, well, if they're not here, then I'm just not going to make money. No, that's not what the hell's going on here. It's ridiculous. Now, Attorney Hines retweeted his own tweet, that LOL thing, and he wrote, I am now being bombarded with messages from people telling me how they bought XRP having done no research. I don't know whether to be surprised, confused, sad, or happy with this information, maybe all of it. I did 2 months of research before I bought it. And you know, good for you. Attorney Hines, good for you for doing 2 months of research. There's nothing wrong with that. That sounds very responsible, and I very genuinely mean that. Now, for me, I wanted to get my feet wet. So I did bare bones research before purchasing XRP. I was like, oh, this sounds like it really could be something. And I'm starting to get why this crypto thing's never going to go away. I got excited about it. So I was like, oh, purchase a little bit, got something, but then just keep doing the research. And I think there's nothing wrong with that either. And then as I did more research and became more confident that what I believed to be true made sense, I put more and more money in, and I did it over a very long period of time. So I think it's okay to do it my way too, and just kind of easing in. And for some people that just want broader exposure, I don't think that's crazy either. If you just want to get broad exposure and then just kind of learn along the way, have a diverse basket of the top 10 or whatever you want to do, I don't care. I don't look down on anybody for doing that. I don't think anybody's crazy. Now, Attorney Deaton, this is where he jumped in. And he responded to Attorney Hines, and he said, I can tell you that after communicating with over 10,000 XRP holders, primarily via email, but also Zoom, meetings at my office, and phone calls, the majority of first-time acquirers over 52% of XRP were unaware of a company called Ripple. They may have been aware of the name Ripple, but were unaware of a company that sold software to banks when they first acquired it. Even some developers who have built on the XRP ledger first bought XRP not knowing the company Ripple existed. A lot of people get surprised by this fact, and some claim they don't believe it, but I 100% believe it. Well, I'll tell you what, I 100% believe Attorney John Deaton. So if he says that that was his experience and 52% of people were unaware of Ripple, maybe they heard the name, but they were unaware of what it was or anything like that. Yeah, I believe that. And you'll see why as we go further through this. But I just think back to me, so fine, I knew from the get-go what Ripple was. But I also saw other stuff developing. In fact, it didn't take long for the XRP tip bot to come out, and I was like, whoa, this thing could really get some legs. Now, it ended up being that there was, where it was registered, we'd say when created it, and there was some, ultimately years later, regulatory concerns, and it ended up getting shut down. But I was looking at that, I was like, yeah, look at this. There's all this utility. And then after that, you saw Coil pop up. For me, it was never just about Ripple, and that needs to be okay. If the SEC says that's not okay, if there's a company that buys and sells a cryptocurrency and they're building on top of that blockchain, now that's illegal, I roll my eyes. That's garbage. We can't live in a world like that. That's nonsense. And if that's literally the rule of law, then we need to freaking change it immediately. You know what I'm saying? Really grinds my gears, folks. But anyway, Attorney Jesse Hines responded to Attorney Deaton and said, to be honest, there were many good researchers on Twitter back in the day, and the amount of info out there was mind-numbing. I can't fathom that no one remembers following these accounts and buying because of their research. I digress. I guess none of it happened and it was all a dream. And then Attorney Deaton responded to him and said, maybe those people on Twitter you're remembering aren't in the 52% and are in the 48%. I don't think anyone would deny that many first-time XRP holders did know about Ripple. Yeah, let's just pause note. Wave my hand right here. Literally, you can't see me, but I'm waving my hand. Yep, that's me. I'm one of them. I absolutely knew about them. I knew about the other stuff too, though. Anyway, and then Attorney Deaton says, I'm just reporting what people swore to in affidavits and claim. My daughter was one who bought XRP and never heard of Ripple. She bought one Bitcoin for $10,000 and took $5,000 and split between ETH and XRP because they were the top three in this new asset class her dad kept talking about. And there you go. I don't think that's crazy. Just get broad exposure. And then Jesse Hines responded and said, I'll take 48%. That makes me feel better. But then again, many people commenting here on this thread were not around to witness the videos of Ripple Riddler are the original riddles of BG123, which is Bearable Guy 123. That's what that stands for. And then John Deaton wrote, I wasn't around back then either. I joined Twitter at the end of 2018. What the hell is BG123, laughy face? Oh, Attorney Deaton, do I have a story for you? You don't know about Bearable Guy 123, John Deaton. You are very fortunate. You are very, very fortunate, Attorney John Deaton, that you don't know what the hell Bearable Guy 123 is. Now, many of you hopefully are laughing at this because it's the stupidest damn thing that I've seen in my 5.5 years plus in the XRP community. It's the stupidest damn thing I've ever seen. It's a cartoon bear. Bearable Guy 123. So there's a Twitter account that was a cartoon bear and would post nonsense pictures of stuff, and they were intended to be viewed as riddles, and they were viewed as riddles. And then people would try and dissect these pictures that were posted, reading into them to figure out what perhaps the price of XRP might be in the future. And that's where 589 came from. You've probably heard 589, right? Take a look at this, for example. This was posted by King Gago on December 19th, 2018. And by the way, this is not a dig at King Gago. I don't know if he was actually into this. A lot of people actually would share the pictures like the one that's on your screen right now to make fun of this stuff. I don't know. This is not a dig at this individual. What I did is I typed in BG123, and this is one of the first things that popped up in search. So I'm sharing it. And so here you can see, here's an example of a picture and then overlaid where people dissecting what it means. So you can just, it's a bunch of nonsense. It's a cartoon bear with a little jester hat and pointing at stuff. But people actually thought, and I kid you not, there were people that thought that there was somebody in the know, some speculated somebody in the know at Ripple pulling strings that was or leaving little breadcrumbs for the XRP community that knew when XRP was going to moon and knew when Lambo, right? And I've never rolled my eyes so hard. I never have. I'm just like, oh my God, the embarrassment of our community. Come on. And so all I could do was laugh. I was like, all right. It is what it is here. And then you had like a headline like this, for example. This is from December 3rd, 2018. XRP to $589 proponent and rumored Ripple insider Bearable Guy 123 resurfaces. Can 1,635x growth occur in 28 days? No, you idiots. No, that is ridiculous. And I was saying it back then. It was stupid. And I saw people that really believed, including there's one particular, I'm not going to name a name, but there's one particular influencer that comes to mind on YouTube who publicly stated that he believed that it was quite possible that by November, XRP was going to go to $589. But mostly people would say XRP to $589 end of year 2018. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm still waiting for XRP to hit $589 by the end of the year 2018. I'm still waiting for that. It's been almost 5 years. I'm still waiting for it, though. Wait for that end of 2018. So anyway, Attorney Deaton, that's what you have been missing right here. It's the dumbest crap. I mean, it is funny to like mock. Like I enjoy that part. You can tell I'm having a good time here, right? Like I'm having a great time here making fun of this stuff. So there was that. There was definitely that. Now there's an XRP community member named Crypto Joe who responded to Attorney Deaton and said, I bought first time in December 2017 because it was in the top 5 and cheap compared to Bitcoin and ETH and was running hard. Just got into crypto because Bitcoin was on a run and XRP was cheap. There you go, and fair enough. Now, Attorney John Deaton retweeted that, and John Deaton wrote the following just several hours ago. He said, so many people reported this to me. It was a top 3 crypto and a hell of a lot cheaper than the top 2. Then, actually, I need to click on this to show more. Then a lot of people saw the settlement time, 3 to 5 seconds in their accounts compared to Bitcoin taking 10 minutes to an hour. After that, many bought more and then started researching. Yeah, by the way, I'll note here, I remember in 2017 transferring Bitcoin, and it took close to 24 hours at one point. I kid you not, from one exchange to another. Kid you not. And the most I paid for a Bitcoin transaction was over $50. Yep, that happened. And I was new to crypto. I was like, well, I guess here we are. Thanks, that kind. Anyway, Attorney Jesse Hines responded to Deaton and said, XRP doesn't settle on an exchange any quicker than any other cryptocurrency, as all exchanges just pool the crypto and move ownership on a centralized ledger. Yeah, and so that is a completely valid point. I don't know for sure. He says all exchanges. I don't know if there's an exception to that. But I'll just certainly agree at a minimum in general, like, yeah, that's pretty much how it works. And it's publicly, like, that's public knowledge. So he is correct about that. But that doesn't change the point that Attorney Deaton's making here. And so Attorney Deaton responded and said, I remember many people saying they were waiting for Bitcoin to settle / transfer and thought they did it wrong because it took so long, and then they had a faster experience with XRP, so they bought more XRP because of it. Whether that it was in their accounts or transferring to others or for payments, I'm not sure. And that's totally fair. Now, I actually responded to Attorney Deaton and I wrote, you're 100% correct. I remember being new to crypto in 2017. Moving Bitcoin to another exchange versus XRP to another exchange was not even close in terms of performance. Even in my early days of research, I found XRP to be incredibly impressive. And by the way, I could not more sincerely and genuinely mean that. And I don't have to sell you guys on the concept. You've used XRP, you hold XRP, you know, it's instantaneous. And so then sitting there, and I remember being new to crypto, like that transaction I told you where it took almost a day and it was over $50. I was like, did I do that wrong? Did I do it wrong? Why isn't it there? Well, no, it's Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. What can I say? And so, but Attorney Deaton wrote back to me and he said, you are all refreshing my recollection. I must have heard these stories 1,000 times. Yeah, exactly. And there were many more. I'm not, just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through the entire list. I mean, I could come up with a very wide sampling of responses to Attorney Deaton. Just a ton of people saying basically a bunch of the same stuff. And there were people too that said, well, no, Ripple was a factor for me, just like I say it was for me. That was a piece of it for sure. And that's perfectly okay that it was a piece for me. Of course it is. But there's more to it. But again, and I do mean this, if it were just some centralized cryptocurrency and it really was a Ripple token, like if that's really what it was, just for Ripple, I would have been like, well, no. I would have been like, this does not sound right. But XRP was decentralized back then, and it's even more decentralized now. So there it is. But yeah, there's tons of people that have those same types of stories. And I guess I didn't read it. Maybe I didn't pull it up for this video. I meant to pull it up for this video. But Attorney Deaton separately made a point that if you find these numbers hard to believe, like how is it that 52% of people did not know what the hell Ripple was? How could that be possible? Especially back in the day. Well, he says, you know, look where, for the people that say they didn't know, look where they live. Whether it's Japan or the Netherlands or pick your country. You know, they didn't know about a San Francisco-based startup named Ripple. That's not so hard to believe. You know, this is global. You got to remember, this is global. So the fact that a lot of people out there on a global scale didn't know about Ripple isn't surprising when you understand it in such terms. So is what it is. You guys can tell me what you think. You can tell me I'm right, tell me I'm wrong, but I know I'm right. Come on, I'm having fun here. No, but seriously, I would love to have the conversation. Keep going below. Tell me why you bought XRP. Was it because of Ripple? Were they even a piece of the reason? Do you think it's okay for that to be a piece of the reason? Or are we somehow, is this some sort of original sin if Ripple was even a piece of the reason that you purchased XRP? Well, I certainly hope not. Let me know. I'll go ahead and wrap up here, though. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.